Hey guys, welcome to the Hope Stove Factory, our kitchen, where we make candle stoves for the homeless.
Hope Stoves offer a safe solution for the less fortunate to be able to keep warm as well as do some basic cooking. This is just a simple tutorial to help you see how to make them if you'd like to make some for the people in your community. Hope Stoves are so hot, hot, hot.
To get the wax to make our Hope Stoves, we reached out to the community for donations, and boy did they ever come through.
We like to put the stove on just maybe a little bit higher than low, and be patient to let the wax begin to melt so you don't burn it. And we put a valve on the bottom of the pot just to make pouring and filling up the pails a lot easier. And this is very simple. So when you're dealing with the wax, it's really hot. Take some safety precautions and put on some oven mitts or some gloves so you don't get burnt. And fill it up to about halfway.
That's probably good. And just make sure you set it on something so it doesn't burn your counter. And now we'll make some wicks while the wax is cooling. It's really important to use 100% cotton, rope, string, whatever you have. And just remember that the bigger the wick, the bigger the flame. So we'll cut it about 2 feet, which will make 5 wicks for our Hope Stove.
Now all we got to do is just dip, drip, and lay it on the wax paper to cool. So you want to let it sit in the wax for a little bit and absorb. Lift it up. Recommend using some pliers and just have a little control and lay it down on your wax paper. Okay, so we like to let the wax completely cool down before poking our holes, and it's easier to do after the wax is in the can and cooled. We do a series of holes in the lid of the can and 2 sets of holes in the can itself. This hole lets air come in, the upper holes let the hot air come out, and that way it doesn't snuff itself out when you put the lid on. I just sharpened up a punch to a fine point, and that goes through the aluminum cans very easily. It's not necessary, but it's safer to punch the holes in after the candles have cooled, just so when you're filling it, wax isn't coming out of the holes while you're filling it, and the tin doesn't flex as much when you're poking the holes. Now, I've just found it's way easier to wick your candles after the wax has begun to cool down, but hasn't fully cooled. So it's still warm, still pliable, still soft. And just kind of get a ballpark measure for how long your wicks need to be to reach the bottom. And we're going to do 5 wicks. Once they're cut, just simply poke a hole into the wax to give you something to put your wick into. Now we just want to poke all the holes that we want. And pop our wicks in. And then you can trim these down to size after it's solidified.